Here I am in the USS Gearing. She has 19,400 hit points. She has 6 127mm guns with a 2.7-second reload with a range of 13.3 kilometers. She has 10 533mm torpedoes with a 104-second reload, a range of 13.2 kilometers at a speed of 71 knots, and they do 17,900 damage each. This is my captain's build with the new captains. This is my ship modules, and I'm using all premium consumable, playing around with defensive fire on the Gearing for now. This is the map Islands of Ice, and this game mode is Domination. This is one of my personal best games in the Gearing, if not the actual best game. I really didn't look at the stats, but I'm going to get quite a bit of damage in a short period of time. And I have it to thank radio direction finding for that. As you see, as I move down to cap point C, I know that right now I'm even with ships heading there, possibly in the middle of B and C, based off of my radio direction finding icon. And I'm going to use that to my advantage to get to a point in this cap that I never really went to before this early on. Normally in the Gearing right now, I would have headed a little farther south into the C cap in this position and probably wouldn't have been as aggressive positioning as I am with the RDF giving me a lot of useful information right now. Pretty much about this point, I know that there is not an enemy ship heading towards C, although the destroyer that is to the south of me is worried about if things go wrong at C. We're going to be all alone. He actually put that in chat. But right now, I know that it's just him and I right now in this area. And I know that the enemy team is going B and A. And I actually told that to my team. So here we go. I see the very first ship that I can see down in this direction, which is at Kerfurst. And he's actually headed to support B cap. I know that that is not a very maneuverable ship and on the slower side, so he should probably bring up the rear of his team. And based off of my radio direction finding, I know that the closest ship to me is roughly ahead of his position, and I see smoke. So right now, after seeing that smoke, I am going to launch torpedoes into that smoke. And also, this is has a potential to not only hit the destroyer in the smoke, but the Montana and the Kerfurst also have the chance of running into these torpedoes. I actually launched them into the smoke with the Montana selected as a target, but I didn't launch it right on the target indicator. I launched the Torps a little ahead based off of where I kind of saw that destroyer firing out of the smoke, and the Montana probably trying to speed up to get into the smoke. And as you can see right now, we are barely at 16 minutes, 35 seconds into the game. We've capped C point, and I have 10 torpedoes tracking on target to a destroyer and at least one battleship, possibly 2 battleships. The Montana is completely obscured by smoke right now, but the torpedoes are tracking true, and I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 torpedo hits, for a total of 102,975 damage at the 16-minute and 10-second mark of this game. That strike right there, I have directly attributed to the information that radio direction finding was giving me. Normally, I would have never put myself in that position. Too many unknowns of possibly running into a destroyer, not knowing exactly where they are at. And I've been able to get so close to this team right here due to the information I'm giving me. I'm actually having to avoid friendly torpedoes that are launched from the north side of B cap. The enemy team has already lost a cruiser. This Baltimore is under 50% health, and a toggle over there just taking a lot of damage. And had a flash of a Gearing, so I went ahead and again launched Torps in a general direction of where I seen smoke. I like launching the Torps in the Gearing as kind of aerial denial slash predictive torping. I run the Torp acceleration module because the Gearing torpedoes have a lot of range, and that negative 20% range on them only takes it down to 13.2 kilometers, and then they do 71 knots. They're rather lethal torpedoes at that speed. So here I am. I'm basically maneuvering based off of the information that my radio direction finding is giving me. And there you go again. I have 3 more torpedo hits, 3 more floods caused, and I'm up to 137,000 damage, and I haven't even fired my guns yet. All 11 torpedo hits have caused flooding, and right now the enemy team is moving in a northern direction. They know that there's at least one destroyer over here giving them a lot of hassle right now. But at this point, I'm also expecting at least one of those destroyers to come back and try to do something about me in this position. And again, based off of radio direction finding, I got an idea that I have something coming up, and sure enough, there it is. A Fletcher pops up. He is super low on health, 1 salvo, and he's dead. So I fire my guns, I get 2 hits, and I get my first kill. And I'm sitting at almost 138,000 damage right now. And like I've said, it is this right here. This game is based off of all the information that radio direction finding is giving me. There is a Montana out there fighting with a Montana in our North Carolina. I would love to torp him, but because I see I have friendly battleships closing in on his location, I don't do it. I don't open fire here either because I see there's a Gearing, and I'm just assuming that the other destroyer was in the area also. And at this point, I know that my 2 battleships can handle that Montana. Although I really wished our Montana hadn't have done what he's doing. He ram killed the other Montana. In my opinion, that was a bad trade because he had health advantage over the enemy Montana. Plus, there was a North Carolina backing him up. I think he should have just slowed down, used his guns. I'm pretty sure they could have killed him before he got in that position. But anyways, so here I am calling a target on this Atago. Right now I'm in the mode of I just want to find these other destroyers. I want to try to get in the B cap and cap B cap. We have a pretty good points advantage right now, and we have a ship advantage right now, and we're in pretty good shape. So I see that where the Yamato, the other Montana's at, and now I know where the Shimakaze's at. So here I am, just going to move into B cap. I know I have a destroyer in B cap because we are not gaining anywhere on the cap. We are just stalling it out for the enemy team not to gain points. And based off my radio direction finding, I have a really good idea where this destroyer is at. And right now I'm just screening for my friendly ships that are in the B cap with me in case torpedoes are coming. I'll keep myself in a situation where they get plenty of lead time. Like right now, the Atago launched torpedoes, but I was out in front of my North Carolina enough where you don't see it in the replay because I take the camera and I don't leave the camera on how I'm seeing it because I zoom in and out, move all over the place. It's hard to watch. But the North Carolina was able to slow down and avoid the torpedoes that came from the Atago, and they completely missed them. So right now I'm actively hunting this destroyer. It's a Gearing. He's full health. And he pops his smoke, and it's almost like maybe he didn't even notice me here. Or maybe he did. I'm not sure. I would have played this a little bit differently being at Gearing. But because I could see in a general area where he's shooting from, also based off of the RDF indicator, I pretty much know where he's at in his smoke. I launched both sets of torpedoes, and I'm closing the distance on him. I need to kill him. I kill this Gearing, and my team is in a super good shape right here, although we're now down we're down 1 ship in kills right now. So the Gearing pops back up on detection. He takes a big shot from the North Carolina, and he eats one of my torps. There's the 11th torp hit, 11th flood, 2nd kill, 147,000 damage, and I only have 10 gun hits. So I caught a view of that enemy cruiser over there, and I'm just trying to fire on his last known location. I'm actually going to move closer to him. I'm going to use the Gearing smoke for my own purposes. I still have some time before my torpedoes come off a cooldown, but I definitely have my guns available. So the Atago is spotted. Got 2 battleships over here. Should be easily handle him. And yes, one of my battleships takes a big chunk of his health off of him. And now we're down. It's 5 versus 5. We have a pretty decent point advantage and a cap advantage right now. The one thing I wish wouldn't have happened right now is that this curve first, I wish he would have just stayed back here because there's a Montana and a Yamato up there. I wish he would have stayed back here in B cap. We could have supported him a lot better in B cap. He decided to be aggressive right here. And I don't want to run in there because the secondary is on the Yamato and the Montana. You know, now I know where the Shimakaze is. I didn't know where he was at. I don't want to give up my ship right now because I'm in a really strong position to keep them out of B cap. But right now I see that the Yamato is coming around the eastern side of B cap. And my torpedoes are off of cooldown. So I'm going to go ahead and line him up. And I'm going to assume that he's going to turn into my battleship and cruiser over here. So I fire the torpedoes short. And as I'm firing them, the Montana pops up also. And the second set of torpedoes has a chance of hitting the Montana too. Because I launched those short, assuming that the Yamato would turn in. It's also giving my torpedoes a chance to land a hit or maybe two on the Montana. So right now, I assume that the Yamato sees the torpedoes. He's turning to port hard. He takes 2 torpedoes, and the Montana takes 1 torpedo. There's 15 torpedo hits in this game for me, 15 floods, 188,000 damage. When I'm in my Gearing and my Fletcher, I use the torpedoes more as aerial denial. I rarely actually line up torpedoes to do outright kills. I use them to more, take damage control off or force ships to make changes in directions. And unlike this game, they're actually my primary source of damage. But a lot of people fail to realize that Gearing's torpedoes are very good. They do high damage. They do over 17,000 damage a piece, and they can really take a chunk out of a high tier battleship. So right here, I'm just spotting for the I have a Kutuzov that's on the west side of B cap, and I'm just spotting for him right now. I'm staying out of detection of the Yamato. I'm letting the Kutuzov do his deal. He's got the Yamato on fire. He's taking him down pretty good. Right now, the Yamato's using his heel to try to stay up, but the Kutuzov is just hammering him. He's spotted. The Yamato can't do anything about it. They can't even return fire. The Montana probably fired into a smoke blind, hoping to take him out, and boom, the Kutuzov gets the Yamato kill. And then right here, my torpedoes are off of cooldown again. I know that the Montana sees that smoke cloud. He knows he needs to close the distance, and I'm assuming that he's going to go full speed. So this is one of the instances where I actually launched my torpedoes on the indicator. I already assumed, based off of the time and distance he came around the island, that he was probably already up to full speed. Plus, the Kutuzov's smoke is now gone. The Kutuzov is launching torpedoes too. But what the Montana doesn't know is he's got 10 torpedoes heading his way. He's at full speed. He's at the point now where he's not going to be able to avoid these. He's pretty much dead. And right now, it's just me. I'm all alone. I have our lead in points was down quite a bit, but with that kill, it bumped up to 536 at 360, which is pretty good. I have got my 19th torpedo hit, 19th flood. But now I know I have a destroyer in here with me, but I also know that there's another cruiser out there that is going to actually almost end the game in a win for his team, because I needed to get this destroyer killed. I needed to get this Shimakaze killed. So here we go. The Shimakaze's on low health. I open up with my guns on him. I don't even care right now where the cruiser at. My deal right now is I need to kill the Shimakaze. So the Shimakaze pops smoke. I fired more shots, and I had heading in that southerly direction. I take fire from that cruiser, and right now I'm going to turn hard to starboard, and I'm going to completely switch up my directions. I'm assuming that the Shimakaze launched torps in the direction that I was heading in. I'm using the corpse of the Montana as a little bit of a shield right here. And then I'm just going to close the gap under this smoke right and try to spot this Shimakaze, get him killed before that cruiser shows up and ends me. Although I'm at nearly full health, the cruiser can take me out pretty fast. So right here, I'm just trying to outplay the Shimakaze. He's turned north, also trying to close with distance with his friendly ship. And I'm going to open up on him. Yes, his predictive torpedo, he was pretty good. He kind of assumes I'm going to do the same thing. I get the kill. He disabled my engine. I fix it, and right now I know I need to turn south and get out of here. So I'm going to launch torps in the direction I know that cruiser's coming from. Hopefully I get lucky, but mostly to slow him down. So here we go. So it's 1v1. We got a good lead on points. The problem is that it's a cruiser, and I don't want to be in a situation where I get gunned down by a cruiser at this close range. Right here, you're going to see him pop up. Unfortunately, he's gonna avoid my torpedoes. I'm heading full speed, heading south. I'm trying to get as much distance between him as possible. It's a Moskva. Right now, I know I'm in radar range, so I'm expecting to be radared any minute now. But what I'm gonna do, there it goes. Radar's popped. Now I'm just gonna head straight away from him, full speed. Hopefully his gunnery skills aren't that good. He misses his first salvo. I just got to live through the duration of his radar. The good thing is his rate of fire is not that high. He's only going to be able to get 2 salvos off on me until his radar burns up. And I'm just going to completely start heading south and disengage this combat right here. I want nothing to do with this Moskva. I'm looking at the clock, looking at the score. I just need to stay away from him. My teammates are going to suggest that I loop around and cap A. I don't really want to do that. The Moskva's pretty fast. If he makes a turn, if he kind of angles toward the east, because he knows kind of that's in the direction I was heading at, and I try to turn, I'm going to slow down. If he even gets a hint of me, heading in that direction, he can cut me off pretty easy, and I don't even want to risk that right now. Right now, my torpedoes are going to be coming off a cooldown. I want to get another spread at him, but right now I'm not paying attention to the mini-map, and I'm almost going to get myself killed by what I do here pretty soon. So I'm going to launch a set of torpedoes, get them in the water, set the second set. These are more just, trying to slow him down a little bit. I kind of allowed him to get closer than I really wanted him to get to me. I want to go ahead and head back south again. I should have turned a lot faster than I did, and this is almost going to cost me. But again, right here, I'm not paying attention to the mini map, and I'm almost going to run into this island at the worst possible time. So right now, the Moskva, I completely missed the torpedoes, and I'm going to turn around, and I overturned because I wasn't exactly sure how close I was to that island. I didn't zoom in on it. I was just driving by the mini map, and I allow this Moskva to get within my detection range. Luckily, my smoke is off a cooldown, and I know his radar is still on cooldown. He doesn't have his radar yet. There's not enough time in the game for him to have his radar up again. He gets a really good salvo off on me, disables my engine. Luckily, I got the smoke, and I'm going to just make this smoke a nice long ribbon. I'm going to come around this island a little bit. I repaired my engine, and right there is kind of a misplay on myself dealing with the map and not really paying attention where I was at. I could have got myself killed and blown this game. But now I know that I have this nice long strip of smoke going on right here. I know the Moskva is probably going to assume that I'm in the smoke. I know his radar isn't up yet. There's not enough time for it, but I'm going to continue to head south at full speed. And he's gaining distance on me because all the maneuvering I've been doing. He disabled my engine. He's got really good speed. The Gearing's not the fastest destroyer in the game. It's basically a fast cruiser at that kind of speed. So right now I'm just waiting for my one set of the torpedoes to come off a cooldown, and I'm going to send a spread of torpedoes right into that smoke. Because if I was in that cruiser, I would assume that the destroyer is using the smoke to hide in, and I'm gonna run a destroyer down in that smoke. I'm gonna do what this cruiser does, and that's why me as a destroyer right here, I sent the torpedoes into the smoke. I wish I'd have had my second set of torpedoes up, but at least one set. It's a blind fire, and based off of my RDF positioning, I can kind of see he's there, and boom, 19th torpedo hit, 19th flood cause. There's 240,000 damage off of basically 20 torpedo hits, something I've never done. Got 4 kills. I had thought about possibly going for the Kraken right here, but based off of my health, the health of the Moskva, which I'm not exactly sure right now. I know he's got a heal, and the Moskva can do a lot of damage really in a really short period of time. I don't want to risk it, so right now I'm just going to maintain my distance. I was considering, again, he's got 10,000 health. Could I get my Kraken? Is it worth it to risk losing the game? In my opinion, no. My teammates even said that, and I'm like, I'm not going to fire at this point. I just want to win this game. It's a really good game for me. Probably my best game I've ever had playing World of Warships all the way from closed beta. Anyway, the Moskva, he pretty much did everything he could do. It was a good chase. I let him know in chat, and I actually gave him a good job. Plays well after the game was over because he actually kind of played it as best as he could. And actually, there was a lot of good play on both sides of this game for both teams. Right now, the game's over. He doesn't have enough time, even if he caps C-cap, which he didn't have enough time to cap that. This is game over. So this is just an example of how strong the RDF skill is. So far, I like it. So here you are as a victory. 240,103 damage, 20 torpedo hits, 20 floods, only 20 main battery hits, and 7 base defense ribbons. Confederate, high caliber. Like I said, one of my best games ever in World of Warships. 2,796 base XP. The Shimakaze and both Montanas on the other team did really well too. The bulk of my team did really well. It was, like I said, this was a really fun game. Both teams played it pretty well. It was a very exciting game. As you can see, I had a potential 326,000 damage fired my way. Like I said, low damage count on my main guns. It all came from torpedoes on this, which is very, very rare for me. I mostly use this as a gunboat. Torpedoes is a secondary thought. And there we go, 13,292 captain experience, made 527,000 credits. Pretty good game, fun all around. Good job to both teams. Gearing, it is a torpedo boat.